Charts are really important for trading crypto, and so I thought I would do a very quick tutorial on Tradingview, which is a free software that you can use to chart. So the website is tradingview.com, and to launch a chart you just put in this search bar here. We're going to use Apple as an example, so the ticker for Apple is AAPL, and then we just hit launch chart, and that will launch the Apple chart. And I haven't bothered to make an account. You can, but you just need to, some of these things pop up, just click off. Every now and again you have to refresh the page. That will probably happen in this video, so I'll get to show you. So to use this software to look at cryptocurrencies, because they're cryptocurrencies, we always have to use two things. So in this case, up here, to search for what you want, we're going to change it to Bitcoin, BTC, and British pounds, which is GBP. So now we're in Bitcoin versus pounds, and back to dollars, BTC, USD. That's our ticker, because it is a currency, so we need to see one currency against another. Now let's say we wanted to look at Ethereum versus the dollar. We'd put in the ticker for Ethereum, ETH, and then USD. Right, I think you get the gist. Now if we want to check against currencies, and we'll need to do this for altcoins, so ETC, BTC, that's Ethereum against Bitcoin. And let's say we wanted to look at Tron, for example, which is a small altcoin. The ticker for Tron is TRX, and then we want it against Bitcoin, BTC, and that will bring up our chart for Tron. So here we can see what's going on. Now, it is a bit inconvenient typing in this every single time. So over here on the right hand side, it looks like a paper and a magnifying glass. It's a watch list. If you click that, all the stuff that you want to watch comes up. And to add that, let's say we wanted to add Apple, I just type in the ticker for Apple, AAPL, and hit enter, and there Apple now is at the bottom. It'll take us to the chart for Apple. I know this is a crypto thing, so this is just an example. Let's say we don't want Apple, because we don't. We just hit X, and there it is. It's off the watch list. So back to Bitcoin. So now we're looking at Bitcoin, and we want to see, we want to use the charting software to chart the things that we think are important. So for one, we want it in candlesticks. Up here it's candles. Personally, for the way I chart, I don't like bars. I think the candles tell us more stuff than a lot of these things do. Right? So we're going to make sure it's in candles, and we're going to check the time frame. So this is currently in day. So here it says Bitcoin, dollar, D, Bitstamp. So what that means is it's Bitcoin against dollar. The time frame is daily, and Bitstamp's where it's getting the data from. So let's change it to the 4 hour, which I do this all the time because it tells us a bit more about what's going on. So we can see a bit, each one of these candles represents 4 hours of trading, right? I can turn it all the way down to 1 minute. And this is, each one of these candles is 1 minute worth of Bitcoin trading. So let's go to the 4 hour. So now we know how to find the tickers that we want, save them to a watch list, and our time frame. Let me get rid of this. There are a couple of other factors that we want to be able to do. So for one, we want indicators, or we'll likely want indicators. The stock chart, the chart that's automatically generated, starts with volume. As you see this stuff down here, this is the volume. Red is sell and green is buy, and a period. Frankly, I don't want the volume, so I'm going to hit indicators, and for our case, we'll put up moving averages, and we'll do 2 moving averages, and let's say the MACD. If you don't know what this stuff is, I'll do another video on some of these if people ask. So, moving average. If I want to, so let's say this, I'm going to format this moving average. I want it to be hot pink. Okay, so we see that it changed to hot pink. And I want it inputs, instead of it being the 9 moving average, that is 9 periods of whatever, 9 closes, I want it to be the 30. So on the 4 hour, that's 30 4-hour closes. If we go to the daily, this is 30, the average of 30 days, right? And then let's make this one, let's keep it at 9, go to star, we'll make it bright yellow, and let's make it really fat, just so it's very obvious to see. Now, if I don't want to see it, I want to see what the chart looks like without that, This little eye up here lets me see things. The cog is what I was using to format things, and obviously this little X gets rid of it. You can do the same stuff with MACD and other indicators down here. We can get rid of it so we don't see it. We can change the settings on it, so we can change our histogram, and if we go to inputs, we can change, if the fast line's 12 or 14, for example. You'll have to do your own research to decide what indicators that you want to use, but it's really that simple. Then I guess on the so we've done watch list, indicators. Over here on the left hand side of the chart are some basic tools that we can use for the chart. So I'm going to put it back to the 4 hour. So this one's obviously basic lines, right, which is useful for trend lines. We could draw, sort of from here to here. That's a trend line. It's actually formatted poorly. Up here, you'll see it popped up. This is the bar for that line. I can make it thicker. I can format it, which I'm going to do because I don't want it to be that thick. And if I hit these things, you notice that the line extends right, or extends left. I didn't want that on, but it must have been set. And if we hit this little arrow here, it will give us some other things that we can do. So we can draw arrows towards things. So I can point out this candle if I want to. I can draw parallel channels. I would recommend that you click on these things and see what they do. Down here, there's a little bin symbol to get rid of the stuff that we just put on the chart. Now, we have a lot of Fibonacci's or fibs, so we could do a fib retracement. Again, you'll need to do your own learning, or I guess I could do a video on what this stuff is, and you can decide what the significance of these things are, whether or not you'll use them. Below, one of the most useful and underused functions of this service, the brush and basic shapes. I think people underutilize the fact that you can very easily draw these things. It's easier than drawing a parallel channel often. If we wanted to write text, so let's say I'm going to write, this is text, okay? And I can change, obviously, all the stuff that you're used to. If I go to style, or I can change the font color, make it bold. Now, why would you want to be able to do this? Down here, you can link Tradingview with either StockTwits or Twitter, so you can tweet out your charts. Or if you hit this, you either get an image URL, or I can save the image, so I can post it on Facebook, for example. And so that's why you might want to be able to do it. So instead of having to write a long post, you could write on here all your thoughts about the trade, point to certain things, put text there, circle something, put text here. So that's a really useful thing, in my opinion. Again, underutilized. Let's get rid of this. So we had text, same sort of stuff. We can put an arrow. We could text, speech bubbles, all that stuff is basically formatting stuff. Down here, these are more complex patterns. Well, these actually, the triangle's fairly basic. Now, this isn't a triangle, but I'm just going to show you how you would draw one. So there you go, right? Triangles, head and shoulders. This is where the head and shoulders that I warned about was and is found. Luckily, Tradingview does all the hard work for you for the most part. So let's get rid of our triangle, and now we can see our head and shoulders that broke and has not played out unless there is something kind of sinister. This would be a very complex head and shoulders if this were the case, but it's possible that that's happening, although I choose to believe it's not. This would be a complex head and shoulders, an atypical complex head and shoulders. Hopefully this isn't playing out. I choose to believe that it's not. What else have we got here? So I'd recommend you go through these things and play with them, learn what they do, chuck up some ghost feed. This is cool. You can tell it to simulate candles. If you say, I'm expecting it to go up, I expect it to do this, or I expect it to do that, right? Silly, but cool little trick. And that's basically all the stuff that I would bother using. That's the basic gist of how to use this software. Now, we know how to create a watch list, so we can change our charts very easily and check the stuff that we're interested in. We know how to draw basic chart shapes and stuff. The problem with all that, because that's all really good to know, is how you implement it. And that comes with understanding what Fibonacci's are and what the MACD is and how it works. So just knowing how to put it up, just knowing that by typing in, I can get a cloud up, you still need to know how to use this to trade, right? And that comes with experience, practice, time, teaching. So that's how to use the free website tradingview.com to chart cryptocurrencies. How you chart, though, is up to you. Lots of people chart very differently. I like the basics in general, actually. I like moving averages, candlesticks, patterns, that sort of stuff. Lots of people trade. I know people that trade only on Fibonacci's. So, you know, their charts will look they'll look like this, you know, and to them that makes sense and they know exactly what to do. And to me, I prefer a chart that looks more similar to this. Fairly bit more complex, but it looks sort of like this. So that's all I have to say.